Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.
I am going to continue the theme of water, but first I'm going to do earth. So if you were here this is crazy, this thing today. Oh. Thank you, Joel. It's so fantastic. This is not the church of perfection. I love it. All right, so last week we celebrated together our covenant with me as your new, not so new, associate pastor, but the first one ever. So, it's a pretty big deal. And if you haven't seen it yet, this is crazy. I wanted to share, it's actually kind of symbolic, right? I wanted to show you the stole that Karen Young made. So if you haven't seen it, this is it. So it's definitely earth. We have a lot of vines going on. So handmade by Karen Young. Oh, you want me to do that again?
Yeah. Photo. It's a photo. There you go.
Okay, and now water. Lots and lots and lots of water. I love water. I always have. When I was a child, my family, we still do actually, but when I was a child, we had a cottage right down the driveway from our family home. And it was just a really short walk. And a well-known family tale goes something like this. When I was 4 years old, my dog Duchess and I disappeared, and my family could not find me. Of course, they were quite worried. But where they eventually found me after their searching is I was down at our family cottage, which was along a river, sitting on a rock, just absorbing and watching the water with my dog sitting at my side. To me, it was perfectly natural and just what I needed to be doing. And to this day, that spot is one of my favorite places on this entire planet. On my recent vacation to Mexico, I sat by the ocean every single day for 10 days, just looking and listening and absorbing the sights, the sounds, the whales, the crashing of the waves, and loved it. Just took that in. And of course, even though they're small, I love Colorado streams and lakes. And when I get back to Western New York, I love going to one of the Great Lakes, Lake Ontario, and then a lake I lived on for several years, Silver Lake. I love going to hot springs, and pretty much any weekend I can get away, I'm there. I love kayaking, I love swimming, and in my younger and healthier and more agile days, I loved whitewater rafting and water skiing. And of course, like probably most of you, I drink a lot of water every day here in Colorado. And for me, water is soothing, it centers me, it just brings me comfort in every fiber of my being. Whether it's the sounds, The smell, the feel, that caressing that John talked about from Margaret Atwood, it just fills me. And for those of us who lived here in Boulder in 2013, we also know that water can be damaging and destructive. So it's the both and of things. And all of this, of course, is quite privileged. There are people all over the world who do not have access to clean water. And the water we do have is rapidly depleting and being polluted. Even in Mexico, when I was there, surrounded by that great, vast Pacific Ocean on one side and the Sea of Cortez on the other, I could see beautiful water, but I couldn't drink the water. We had to buy filtered water because it wasn't safe. Water is essential for life. This is not news to any of us in this room or watching online. Many of us would say that we are at a crisis point with water. And as with anything going on in the news today, we could take that information and let it lead us down the rabbit hole of depression, helplessness, anxiety, worry, anger, and despair. And I'm guessing that's exactly how the Israelites felt wandering in that desert. Is the Lord among us or not? Have you ever felt like that? Wondered where God is as you look around either at your life or the world? The Israelites were wandering, they were tired, they were thirsty and desperate. They lashed out at Moses and God for not taking care of their very basic needs. And Moses felt overwhelmed and asked God what to do. And God responded by saying, gather up the elders, gather up the leaders, and go ahead and take your staff with you. And that whole idea is what a novel thing. Gather up your friends, get some help. You don't have to do this all by yourself. We don't have to have all the answers to the solution. God said, gather your people and go. Now, the story doesn't exactly say this, but what I make up when I fill in the blanks is that Moses and those leaders talked and argued and prayed all along the way as they looked for water. And they looked for possible solutions. And then God led them to the spot where water could be found. Water flowed from the rocks after Moses struck it with his staff and tapped the natural flow of water that was in that rock formation. What they needed was there, and their thirst was quenched, but it wasn't in plain sight. And Moses didn't have to figure it out all by himself. How tempting is it sometimes to think that we have to have all the answers figured out all by ourselves, and what a joy it is to be able to have some companions on the journey to help out. Perhaps by collaborating with one another and with God, we can co-create some solution or answer or program or response to a problem. Now, I have permission to share this. Some of you know this story and some of you don't, but our own Susan Marine has been busy, as she always is, this legislative season, helping to write and advocate for mental health and suicide prevention. For some people, the thought of turning grief and anger and despair into action to help support those who have a crisis of some kind and to prevent suicide would never even occur to them. It's equivalent to saying, where is the Lord among us and what can be done about this problem? But Susan channels her energy and faith into action by gathering like-minded people to write bills, lobby legislators, and testify before our elected officials. But she doesn't do it alone. And her passion is fueled by her thirst for adequate mental health care and support for everyone so that they can get the help they need and not just thrive, but live. Now, the water of life might look like a law now on the books in Colorado, thanks to Susan and others, to place the crisis line phone number on college ID cards so that students having a mental health crisis who might be contemplating suicide have the phone number at their fingertips to get help. It's a drop. It's not the final solution, but it's a drop, like Margaret Atwood said. What wilderness or desert are you wandering in? And what is it that you thirst for? Maybe, like Susan, you have endured tragedy and have a vision that you are thirsty to turn into reality. Maybe you feel called to a new vocation and you thirst to move in that direction. Maybe you're in a new season of life where you sense change is upon you and you thirst for direction or answers or meaning. Maybe you see an injustice that needs to be addressed and you thirst for change. Maybe you feel called to do something about climate change, gun violence, poverty, homelessness, homophobia, transphobia. We could go on and on and on. But what issue or what thing is happening in your life do you thirst for so that love and equality and everyone has enough? Are you going to stand around and say, where is the Lord and why isn't God doing something? We could. We could do that. We could stay stuck. We could continue fighting. We could be lost. We could be wandering. We could look at that obstacle in the middle. Or what if instead you gather your people, you pray together, you ask for guidance from God, you listen, you brainstorm, and take some action, even if it's one step today, because change doesn't happen overnight. And just like water, one step today can lead to another, to another, to another, until the landscape changes. Because I'll tell you, Susan has already told us she's not stopping at a phone number on an ID card. She's gathering the people, and there'll be more next year. And I'm reminded about sociologist Margaret Mead and her very famous quote that you probably all know, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And I would add that change happens as we have faith and have God's help. Water means and leads to life. Without it, we cannot live and we cannot thrive. We can keep quarreling, we can keep arguing, we can keep testing God and one another. But what if we came together instead? Drops become puddles, become streams, become rivers, become lakes, become oceans, and we have plenty of water. What if we co-create with God and our people to bring life-giving water to a thirsty world in whatever way you feel called, whether it's small or really big? What if we help find the water that's hidden in maybe unlikely places and maybe right in plain sight? I think God is inviting us to quench our thirst and the world's thirst in literal and metaphorical ways. Thirst no more. That water Moses tapped with God's help wasn't just for a few people. It was for everybody. Whatever you thirst for, gather your people, pray, and go forth. Maybe even argue a little, but go forth. God is inviting each of us to find and drink life-giving water and offer it in unique ways to create beloved community so that no one is thirsty and everyone can live and thrive. May it be so. And now we'll take a moment of silence to reflect and hear what God might have for you.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicole Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.